The first one, Elizabeth I. Obviously not a black man. But at the end of the day, he was the first one that made the flushing toilet that we use today. He was the first to invent a 2-foot deep oval bowl, which was waterproof. It had resin, wax, and fed by water through an upstairs cistern, and it needed about 7.5 gallons of water just to use one toilet. Imagine. When water was scarce, up to 20 people could use the commode between flushes, which were cleaned by men called jakes. And the flushing lavatory idea failed to catch on as people continued to use the chamber pots or the cesspool pits. Nobody remembers them, do they? At Harrington, he installed a working model for Queen Elizabeth at Richmond Palace, and it took several centuries. The Industrial Revolution and the concern about health and waste disposal for the flush toilet to catch on. So it took quite a while before we moved on to the toilet that we have now. On the big screen you'll be able to see these pictures. Yeah, there's an overview because some of the toilets that are around now are in the hole in the floor. They use them in France, I think, and Italy. Thailand as well. You have to bend over the floor. People, if you've travelled, you'll see. And parts of Africa as well. Yeah. It's hard on the knee.
Hard on the knee.
If you've got strong legs, you'll be okay.
It's not necessary to be so low.
No. But some people get used to it. And some places you share the toilet. So you may be sitting next to your friends, talking and doing your business. Not very nice, but
it's
very friendly. In the olden days, what they used to do is use a raised brick floor, and it would go into the base of the ground. They'd dig a hole that was quite deep. Yeah, basically, a pit toilet. Okay, so that's just an overview. But then over time, the large urban areas in ancient cities had to figure out innovative ways to handle human pollution. We take the toilet for granted today, but there was a time when it wasn't quite as common. And in the 3rd millennium BC, toilets sprung up in many different societies. And it's suspected that the toilet originated in the Indus River Valley. Egyptians, Persians and Greeks were also using toilets around this time, consisting of a seated area made of bricks with a wooden seat, the one that I showed you earlier. And this is one of the first toilets. And these were only used by the upper classes. Everyone else was stuck using pots or holes in the ground. Okay, so it's just to give an overview of the toilets that were in existence in previous years. Now what I've done here is shown a combined bathroom experience. So you have the bidet at the front and the toilet towards the back. It's a modern version. But flush or wash is a combination, so you don't have to use as much space. And so any small room can contain the same item. It's just one toilet seat and you can use the two products together. Just to give you a little bit more history in terms of inventions, Alexander Cumming in 1775 was granted the first patent for a flush toilet, and his greatest invention was the S-shaped pipe below the bowl that used the water to create a seal, preventing the sewer gas from entering the toilet, okay, because there were explosions that used to happen. And during the Industrial Revolution it led to an advance in technology, and the flush toilet began to emerge into the modern form that we're so familiar with today. Then later in the 19th century there was a Thomas Crapper, got a brilliant name there. But he was a London plumbing impresario who manufactured one of the first widely successful lines of flush toilets, and by inventing the ballcock as a tank filling system. So you didn't need to use 7.5 gallons of water just to have one toilet being flushed. And now in 2016 we have a sophisticated yet simple device presented here today that has been invented and patented by Wahiba Selassie. Okay? So that's the example that you hear. And then I talked about the Middle Ages, where the wealthy used a small stone. The Industrial Revolution I referred to as well, and then we talked again about the flush and wash toilet. And here we've got an example within a bathroom with a small space where you have the toilet with the flush and wash object on the top as well as the sink. So it's supposed to look quite stylish, but it's neat and it's small. It can fit into any space, hopefully, across the country. I've done here is just giving you an overview of the picture that you see at the side. That will be the actual product itself, the Flush O Wash product that will come in different ranges. And all I've done here is just giving you an example that Flush O Wash is a 21st century new toilet seat experience, which allows you to be clean and fresh as soon as you've finished nature's call. And this all-in-one product contains everything you'll need to make a great impact in your homes, offices, hotels and other locations. Flush O Wash will need to be there because it's convenient, easy to use, it's cost effective, so you're not spending so much money on toilet paper, and it's environmentally friendly, so you're not cutting down all those trees either. It just keeps you fresh and clean. Okay? So, talked about the benefits, and water, as you know, gives you a sense of well-being. It will extract the odour, which people were referring to before, and it avoids skin irritation. So you don't use those wet wipes that have lots of chemicals and perfumes included in them. It meets the needs of the world's diverse communities, because lots of cultures used to use water prior to the toilet paper, and now there's more and more people. You're familiar with the Muslims, they have to wash themselves every time they go to the toilet, but there are other cultures that do the same thing. What Flush O Wash does is combine the unique experience of just using water by itself, but you have it in a practical way within your home. Okay, so that's the presentation basically. You would have seen it on the screen.